So President Paul, if you can join us, again, the question is how do you lower or diminish a case when there's again questions regarding gathering evidence and question regarding the state of the shooter? Because this is just me. If I've been drinking all day, I'm probably not going to be in the best frame of mind, for lack of a better term. So, President Paul, I'd like to throw that question to you, please.
Yeah. So when we got the complaint, I think it came to our organization back in April of this year. We looked through it. It took us some months because it was a lot of material that Mr. and Mrs. Jones provided about the complaint. And I had this discussion with some attorneys that are members of our organization, just to talk about, because my biggest issue was why was the charges completely dismissed by the local DA? I kind of got some insight on why, because I think initially when the charge happened, at least from my recollection, first of all, I want to correct something the DA said to our press conference on Friday. She said the guy wasn't arrested. That was a lie. That's not true. The guy was arrested and charged. I think initially it was a misdemeanor. It went to the Solicitor General's office, and she escalated it up as a felony based on the evidence she had. And so my issue was, why was it completely dismissed? Now I asked our couple attorneys within our organization, why wouldn't this be considered a felony? Their explanation to me would be, well, you have to prove intent. Was it intentional, or was this just something, hey, he was high and or drunk and out of his mind and he just accidentally pulled the trigger? Because even reading some of the witness statements, one of the witnesses kind of said that the gun just discharged. And everybody that gave witness statements, and all of this is public record now, but reading over those witness statements, everybody pretty much gives the same story. We heard a loud knock at the door. Everybody was kind of a little shocked of the loud knock. The music was muted, and then we heard a gun go off. One witness pretty much stated to imply that the guy never even got a chance to see who was at the door. But the gun just fired. So is that because, once again, he's high, he's drunk? And again, that was a missed opportunity by law enforcement. Should have been a toxicology report done. Should have been blood work done to verify, okay, what type of drugs was this guy had in his system? That was pretty much a missed opportunity by law enforcement to verify what was the state of the mind of the shooter when all of this happened. That those things should have taken place. And so it sounds like to me that's could have been what happened, and based on that type of framing, from what I've been told by attorneys within our organization, that's why worst case scenario or best case, depending on how you want to look at it, he should at least been charged with a misdemeanor for this. If you're going to say, okay, he didn't intentionally have a grudge against the Joneses and this was just, that's the minimum he at least should have been charged with, is a misdemeanor. And our biggest concern was, from the DA's perspective, and the reason we wanted to meet with the DA before we had the press conference, is why didn't you charge anything? You just completely dismissed the case. Because in our opinion, that sets a precedent that anybody can say, oh, I feared for my life. I think I saw a weapon, or I think I heard a weapon outside my door, and so I just fired my gun and shot him. Now, what if next time this is a child? What if next time this is fatal? The person dies. It sets a bad precedent. So you can imagine our disappointment when we went to the district attorney's office to get answers that we were met with, get the hell out of my office. That was, my opinion. I had some of the board members of our national organization that I discussed this story with. They were not happy. They're still ticked off about that behavior and want us to go through whatever measures we can take to have the DA's office investigated for this based on that type of behavior when someone's coming to you, which is why, when we had our press conference, I raised a concern when we went from Danny Porter, who was a white district attorney, to now we have a black woman district attorney. Did we get improvement in our community by switching the people out? Are we getting the service we get? Because again, the way I was treated as a president of the oldest civil rights organizations in the country, we could have got that from Danny Porter's office. When we go to you and you look like us, people elect you because they're hoping that you will be able to empathize and sympathize with the situation. And as I stated in the press conference Friday, the Joneses wasn't treated like the victims. They was treated like they was the aggressors. And we see too many time in these cases when Black people are victims of violence, especially when the opposition happens to be non-Black. Too many times we're treated like we're the aggressors and we're not treated like the victims. And that's really more than anything is what got us involved in this case.